You mock me, Harbert.
Final Fantasy XVI, the 16th entry in the series that is anything but final. I just got done playing it and it was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Now I'm going to talk about it because it was long and I got things to say. I'm going to break this review into sections, each one covering my thoughts at different points of the game. We'll start with the prologue. So while I did like this game a lot, it took some getting used to at first. When the game starts, you get this endless loop of watch along cutscene, tutorial screen, play the game for 10 seconds, watch rinse repeat for the next hour, and that took some getting used to. The only thing that kept my interest going was the story. Clive and Joshua were great, the icons seemed cool, and their mom seemed like a really nice person.
The power of the Phoenix dwells within Joshua, and Joshua alone. If any ill should befall him, it will be on your head.
Yep, nothing wrong here. What a kind and caring woman. And then the prologue ended with a bang, and I was all, oh, I'm hooked. Their mom was evil? What? Another icon of fire? Huh? Joshua dies? Yeah, we'll see. The first third of the game is great, and is also the best part. The world of Valisthea was so cool. You got multiple kingdoms at war. People who can use magic called bearers. People who can't use magic that hate bearers, so they enslave and brand them. Unless you're a dominant, one of 8 people blessed by these elemental monster things, icons, then you're just the coolest dude ever and can rule a nation. Unless you're a woman. The land is slowly dying. Why? No one knows. There are massive ruins everywhere. Why? Again, no one knows. All of this has the potential for so much cool world building and storytelling, so I was so excited. I really hope that this all plays out, and I don't get burned like another series left me. Speaking of storytelling, the first third is just so well written. I loved Clive here. I already liked him at the start, but now he's better. After his brother died, he wants nothing more than to kill this monster at whatever the cost. And I was able to predict exactly what would happen. Okay, so since we see Clive yelling here at this thing not to kill Joshua, but we don't see Clive yelling, I'm going to guess this thing is Clive, and that hooded guy is Joshua. Oh, what? What? Who could have seen that coming? I actually like this twist a lot, even though I predicted it. It makes the story and lore way more interesting. Clive being another dominant of fire immediately starts building mystery, because we're told there's only one.
Second icon of fire? That's impossible.
He can also steal other dominants' powers, which builds more mystery and makes the gameplay way more fun. Joshua being alive is great because I loved him in the prologue. Then we have Cid, a revolutionary trying to build a better world for bearers. He's also kind of a voice of reason since Clive is so hot-headed.
You swore you'd avenge your brother's death, that you'd never rest until you'd hunted down the man responsible. So, find out if this man's responsible and kill yourself if he's not.
Cid, Young man, kill yourself!
He happens to be the dominant of lightning, and is clearly dying. I wonder if he'll give his power to Clive in his dying moment. Oh, whoa, we're 2 for 2, baby! As much as I'm joking, it is a pretty sad moment because I liked Cid a lot. Rest in peace, man, you will be missed. Then we have Jill, the dominant of ice. She doesn't do that much yet because she spends the majority of this time sleeping, but I still like her. When she joins the party later, she just keeps hitting everything with ice, and I appreciate it. Everything in the first third is great, and I know I'm saying that when I'm leaving a lot out. Look, this game took me a lot of hours to beat. I wish I had the exact number, but when I checked my PS5, it said I only played like 2 minutes. Huh? I have multiple hours of footage to disprove that. Oh yeah, I can't cover everything. Just know the story's great. The side characters are great. The villains don't get interesting until they die, but they're threatening, so it's fine. Alright, now to talk about one plot point, because it's important for the rest of the video. So about 1/3 through the game, the story begins focusing on destroying these giant mother crystals. Cid theorizes these things are causing the land to decay, which they call the Blight, because they're sucking all the ether out of the ground. Okay, makes sense. And would these reasonable rulers of nations destroy them when they offer so much convenience? Absolutely not. Let's blow them up, lads. They destroy the first crystal, Cid dies, rest in peace, and this guy shows up. This is Ultima, aka the final boss, aka God, and aka it's all downhill from here. The rest of the game isn't that bad, I just want it to be dramatic. Parts of it are still good, and others are great. But there's a couple issues with the writing just because I think they ran out of time. It feels like the developers finished maybe 80 to 90% of the story, but ran out of time for the rest, and everything kind of suffered. Now I completely understand this. Writing a AAA game is very hard. Writing a story is hard. Making a 40-hour long RPG with 20 hours of cutscenes is hard. But I also understand that Square Enix is a company, and deadlines have to exist. And they probably don't want to spend another 10 years making another Final Fantasy. And this game was already in development since 2016. So, to every dev that worked on Final Fantasy 16, please know I have nothing but respect for all of you. And I am very sorry that I'm about to tear into your game. So my first or second complaint, destroying the mother crystals becomes very tedious. So we got 4 other mother crystals to destroy, and the flow of the story becomes this. Do a bunch of random stuff for a couple hours, then destroy a mother crystal with a big kaiju battle. Now tell me, which one of those sounds cooler? The random stuff in between isn't even bad. You either get world building or learn more about the side characters. And I like the side characters, and for whatever reason, subjects like fantasy engineering interest me. But every Mother Crystal battle also concludes a major storyline that had a lot of build-up. And you get to play as Ifrit, which you rarely get to do. So again, what sounds cooler? Meeting Clive's Uncle Byron, or playing Ifrit power sliding up a giant titan? Also, what's weird about the crystals story-wise is that no one seems to care that Clive is destroying them. The mother crystals are clearly very important to these kingdoms. Why build things like wells when these fragments can just magic you some water? I was expecting some cutscene of all the world leaders just meeting and saying, hey guys, maybe we should stop fighting, instead stop this one guy who is ruining everything! Okay, so Clive and Joshua's mother. I really wish she was the final villain. Let's make a list of every bad thing she's done so far. She sold her family out to the Empire, which gets them killed. She makes Clive a slave in the Empire's army. And 18 years later, it turns out she's manipulating the Empire to let her new son rule. This lady is evil. I wish she was the final villain. I thought it made more sense. I mean, she's here at the start and already has a personal connection to Clive. I was half expecting her to somehow be related to the icons in some way. But nope, we got this guy instead. And we'll get back to you, I promise. King Barnabas. This dude was so great. At first. It was pretty late to add another villain, so he had to do something big to stand out. He kicked Clive's ass. Okay, that'll do it. Then he split the sea like Moses to kick Clive's ass again. Okay, now we're talking. When Clive has to fight him a third time, I was expecting something big. Some new icon lore perhaps. Something about Ifrit or Phoenix because they were revealed to be super important like 5 minutes earlier. Maybe a large icon battle. But no, Clive beats Barnabas not with a power-up or anything cool, but because his will was stronger. I don't think that works here. Barnabas was clearly much stronger, but I guess he lost because Clive felt like dodging for once. Also, there was no icon fight. I mean, there kind of is one, but it's all cutscenes and cinematic button presses and... You know what? No, that does not count. So the icons feel unfinished. A couple times in the game, we hear this.
8 wardens for 8 elements.
8 icons for 8 elements. How many does Clive have again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait a minute. We only have 7 elements. We're missing one. Water. The 8th icon is Leviathan, which I assume is water. And I really thought this one random girl was gonna be Leviathan. She shows up right after Sid dies, and has way too much emphasis to be a background character, but nothing. And this is where I theorized that they ran out of time, because none of the icon lore is present, except a teeny tiny bit of Ifrit's.
Ifrit. Or what's left of him.
That's it. That's the lore. He's dead, I think. Not sure, Clive is right there. Since the icons are so important to the story, I was expecting a bit more explanation. At least knowing if they're related to Ultima or not. I think they are. Ifrit probably is, but I can't tell if every time Ultima says we, he means the icons or the 70 copies of himself.
Ooh, a clone of myself!
Ooh, a clone of myself.
Ooh, a clone of yourself. Isn't that pretty cool?
And other stuff, like why there's a second icon of fire, why Ifrit can steal the powers of other dominants. Just small little things brought up at the start of the game that no one focuses on. Also, since we're talking about things being unfinished, I wanted to mention this. Ifrit and the Phoenix can fuse. In the mural, this is what it looks like. Even with so many details hidden, this looks awesome. This is not how it looks in the game. I have some questions about this man. So centuries ago, he created humanity and waited for the one he needed to arrive. Clive, he's talking about Clive. He needs to merge with Clive, but can't. See, he took a really long nap until Clive showed up, and since he didn't interfere, mankind developed really stupid things like feelings and willpower. Basically, he can't merge with Clive unless he lets him. Now I understand this, because it's all said out loud. It all had me going, oh. But the rest of his plan had me going, heh. He needs to merge with the Freet so he can make a new world, because the Blight came for his old world, and the Blight is here now, and he can create humans but not a new world. Your godlike powers suck. Does Clive even need all the icon abilities? It sounds like he does, but he's missing one, and Ultima doesn't even use water magic. Questions. I don't think Ultima is a bad villain. I do still wish Annabella was the final boss, but he's fine. He works very well as a threat, but I think he needed more time. I can just feel that the developers had so much more planned with the Efreet, the Icons, Leviathan, the Ruins, and the Fallen. Yeah, turns out those Ruins were built by an ancient advanced civilization. The Fallen were an ancient advanced civilization of Valisthea in Final Fantasy XVI. Thanks to their technology, they were able to leave the surface and create cities in the sky. For reasons that are unclear, the Fallen lost access to magic and their cities fell to the surface. 1500 years later, the ruins of the Fallen can be found on Valisthea. None of this matters to the story, by the way. Are you telling me the developers added an ancient advanced civilization without any plan for it? Obviously not. This was clearly meant to be used. I think this game should have been split into two, like the Final Fantasy VII Remake. The first third of this game is great, I loved it to death, but the devs clearly needed more time. If the theoretical part 1 of this story was as good as the first third, then in 3 to 4 years I would happily buy a Final Fantasy XVI too. Before I rank this, I do want to end on a positive note, because as much as I've been complaining, I did like this game a lot. The music is great. I can't believe it took me this long to talk about it, but Masayoshi Soken, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, just decided to pop off. And the gameplay is so much fun. The icon abilities are also different and cool, and I really love doing this dodge slash attack. I know I never leveled up Ifrit's Rage mode, please don't flame me. I spent all my points on Titan's parry and it was useless by the end. And while they stumbled a bit getting there, the final fight against Ultima is pretty great. This is what it's all been building towards. After one long journey to change the course of history, battling the icons, toppling every country, and losing way too many loved ones, we're now at the end. One man, one god, and one final battle of who wants Clive's body more. And who can blame him? B tier.